Everyone has a story. Stories have power. They help us understand each other. Levi, great to see you.
Hey, Doug.
Let's go chat. This is Jessop's Journal. Levi, it's time to sign into Jessop's Journal. Hi, I'm Doug Jessop. Welcome to another episode of Jessop's Journal. With me today, Levi Lindsay. So Levi, thanks for coming on. We did the social distancing, wore the masks and all that stuff. It is time now to, of course, do the hand sanitizing. Thanks to the folks at Five Wise. Yes, they do make adult beverages as well. So thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I actually kind of knew you a little bit through social media, but to be honest, I'd never met you in person. Any idea why you think you're in the chair today?
Oh man, the hot seat?
Yeah.
I made a big life change. I stepped away from a company that I'd been working tirelessly on for 80 hours a week for 3 years.
Wow.
Put my heart, blood, and soul into it.
And you said, not going to do that anymore.
I just said, get me out of this.
And we're going to go back to that a little bit, but a lot of it to me is, I have a phrase that I use a lot called "life is never boring." So.
With kids especially.
Yeah, no kidding. Looking at the priorities of life, how old are you?
28.
Go back in time and say you're 10 years old. What are your priorities when you're 10 years old?
What time is Power Rangers? And I wanted to be a stand-up comedian so bad.
Really?
Yes.
So what happened with that?
I dabbled a little. I did the school assemblies and stuff, but yeah, that never panned out.
Okay, now let's fast forward and say you're 19.
Yeah.
Okay, what are your top priorities when you're 19?
Pedaling through the streets of LA on a bike, looking as nerdy as I ever have, with a little missionary companion for my church for a couple of years. Craziest, hardest thing I've ever done, but best thing for me.
Now we're going to get a little tinier increments. Okay, let's say, I'm just going to pluck a number here, 25.
25? 25 was how the heck am I going to provide for this family? Yeah.
Okay, so you had a partner before with the missionary thing that you didn't choose.
Yeah, didn't choose the companion on the mission, but got married at 21 and got to choose the companion.
Ah, there you go. So how'd you meet her?
So I met her, it's a little embarrassing. I met her on Tinder.
Okay, yeah.
We both swiped right. Now listen, Tinder wasn't so much of a hookup app when we met.
Sure,
But how could she resist?
Oh, wow. So, and let's go ahead. Give her a shout out. What's her name and all that kind of fun
Levi
stuff.
Lindsay. She's the sweetest, amazing mother, wife, works at Primary Children's Hospital doing ultrasound. I married way above me.
Don't we all? Yeah, that's great. So you're at 25 and you're figuring out how are you going to provide.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's tick just one more year. Now 26 years old. What's your top priorities?
26, it's my business. It's I dove headfirst into my business. There wasn't data driven behind it. There wasn't any financial backing. I just dove headfirst in and worked for free for the first year to just get this thing off the ground.
And what happened next?
Well, I just ended up putting everything I had into it, and it started consuming every fiber of me. It was all I thought about on the weekends. I couldn't wait till Monday because I wanted to work on the business. I was reluctant to relax. I couldn't take vacations anymore because we would be on the beach in Hawaii and I would just be, where's my phone? I'd be itching to go check my phone, make sure everything's okay. Missed one of my wife's birthdays to close a deal. Didn't close the deal.
Ooh.
I was just in. I was all in. It was all consuming.
Now, Utah is kind of the hotbed for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of entrepreneurs that watch this show. And they're looking at that. So they're looking at you going, okay, he started this business, but then you're cooking with gas, and then what happened next?
Well, I think it's like that frog boiling in a pot of water analogy. The water's slowly turned up, the heat is. I didn't realize, because it was slowly over 3 years, that I finally realized I was, Nick and I started a side business for mental health awareness, and we got a lot of interest from people and stories about mental health. We were on a Zoom call with someone talking to us about burnout, and she was like, I was on autopilot. I felt like I was only functioning from the neck up. As she was talking, I just felt every word, it just gashes in my heart. I turned off the Zoom call, and Nick was like, "Where'd you go?" I ran to my car to go have a panic attack because I was like, I think I have burnout. I'm not me anymore. My eyes are dead. And then I got a text about something very concerning about the business that I had to handle. And that was when I really started to realize I couldn't be in the business and heal anymore. I'd let it gone too far.
You stepped away.
I stepped away.
That's a bold move.
Yeah, there was a lot of extenuating circumstances, but I looked at my wife one day and I said, I think I just got to get out. And there wasn't a discussion at all other than the words. She looked at me and said, I just want my husband back. It wasn't like, well, let's structure this and make sure you get the best out of the time. It was just, she just looked at me and it pricked my heart with, she just said, I want my husband back.
You know, I'm pretty sure you're not the only person that's gone through this. When I was your age, you know, I was into the business and everything, and I got stuck into that trap of, if I only get to this level, then I'll be happy. And then I got to that level, and guess what? Not so much.
Right.
And then or you do this milestone or that milestone. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of it gets down to, you know, and it sounds kind of cliche now, but life balance.
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously, you know, well, not obviously, because we don't know this. We talked before. No, the kid is not unemployed. No, he's not, you know, as I say. So you found something else.
Yeah.
Can you tell the difference?
Already I can just feel myself coming back. It might sound weird, but when you're dealing with burnout, you don't feel nostalgia. You don't sing to music in your car. Your daughter says something funny and you're just kind of glossed over. Burnout robs you of those moments where you should feel just that utmost joy. You don't feel anything anymore. It takes everything from you. And so I feel the difference. After I walked away, I took the family out to California and we just blew a bunch of cash on food and this and that. And I was like, oh yeah, this is what life feels like. Mm-hmm. We were at the Griffith Observatory by the Hollywood sign. The sun was setting. My daughter was running around and everyone was looking at how cute she was and smiling. And I was like, who in the world cares about business? This is what it's about. This is what it's about. And if I would have been still in the business, that moment wouldn't have been that moment.
So to make it clear, you are still interested in business. You're still figuring out a way to provide for your family.
Yes.
What are you going to do different this time, you think?
I think it's all about just setting boundaries, because your business isn't going to do it. Your partners aren't going to do it. The people you work with aren't going to do it. Your wife isn't able to do it. It's up to you to set boundaries. You got to let balls drop. I was one where I was like, not a single ball can drop. And in trying to not let any balls drop, the ultimate ball dropped, which was just suffering so much that I had to just get out. Couldn't sleep, having panic attacks. You just gotta lose a client every now and then. You gotta miss a deal for your wife's birthday, and you gotta shut it off.
Easier said than done, though, I will say.
Amen.
Have you talked to people? Are you on meds? Or what's the thing that helps?
I haven't tried meds. In this journey, there's lots of people that have opened up, which is so cool about being open about mental health on LinkedIn especially. All the people flooding and saying, I suffer with this too. I haven't tried those, but that's a solution. Sometimes it's chemical, sometimes it's situational. I'm learning a lot. I'm not an expert. For me, I found eating better, exercising, actually being there with my family and creating experiences. those things have started to heal me, and I can feel that light coming back into my eyes.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned LinkedIn, and social media is one of those things where it's kind of, the devil and the angel type thing on the shoulders, you know?
Yeah.
And so sometimes, admittedly, social media drives me a little crazy because people are always comparing. They're only putting their best selves out there, you know?
Yeah.
And so when I saw your post saying, hey, look, I'm going through this,
Yeah.
which was kind of the polar opposite of saying, hey, everything's great and wonderful. I was amazed by the amount of people that responded.
Yeah.
So you also did something, though. You did a poll that I thought was kind of intriguing, because we're there from the standpoint of being able to talk about this conversation, because I'll be very, very blunt. When I was your age, I was going through some of the same things, but it was not socially acceptable to show anything other than strength. I mean, there was literally a phrase that I used: never let them see you sweat.
Right.
Okay?
Rub some dirt on it.
So what was the response when you did this poll? And what was the poll about?
Well, it was, how comfortable do you feel sharing your struggles with mental health in the workplace? And sadly, the majority didn't feel comfortable. Some were a little weary. But what's encouraging is to see the amount of people that are stepping up and are willing, especially the leaders, like Johnny Hanna with Homey, Corey Stevens with Taft. Them being open, it helped me. This might sound crazy, but going through my panic attack, my first one ever, I thought about Johnny Hanna and Corey Stevens, because I was like, these two are these giants in Utah, creating great disruption and change and doing great things in business. And I've got this little video company going on, and I'm so stressed about it. But I was like, okay, I'm not the only one that struggles with this. I'm off into the weeds now, but it's encouraging to see that people are opening up. Mm-hmm. But it's discouraging to see that not everyone feels comfortable still. And that's the fight that we still have to fight. Well,
that's the reason, quite bluntly, that I've got you here. Because I remember I interviewed a gentleman by the name of Joel McKay Smith. Hi, Joel. And, he's a great connector and everything, but he's very open about the fact that he has some mental health issues.
Yeah.
And to be able to talk about those kind of things, in my mind, takes it out of the dark and into the light, so that we can talk about this, because I do strongly believe that there is someone out there watching right now, that is saying, Levi is going through this stuff, and you know what? I've gone through the same thing. For you to be able to see, the Homey guy, and then there was the other gentleman.
Yeah.
What impact did those people expressing themselves have on you?
It gave me the courage to open up. Those posts on LinkedIn, I wouldn't have the courage to talk about it if they weren't as open. But then on a personal level, going through a panic attack, thinking, okay, there's things I can do, there's life after this, and there's people that are struggling with it that are functioning at a high level. I got this.
So what advice would you give to anybody else out there?
If you're an entrepreneur, your business will not crumble to the ground if you take a week off. Put the freaking phone down and enjoy a moment. Your business isn't everything. It is awesome, but you've got to have the full spectrum of life. It's just one part of it.
Levi, you walked away from your one business. Obviously, you're not on the streets now. You got to figure out a way to support that family. What are you doing now?
So I was blessed enough through the magic of LinkedIn. Thankfully, it paid off. I found an awesome job with Kizik and Hands Free Labs. They're creating hands-free shoe technology, and they're onto some really, really big things.
That's the shirt.
That's the hands-free, and I'm
Okay, yes. Time for okay, I'll give you a shameless plug. Go ahead. Tell me what exactly this thing does. What's the technology?
No hands. You can just slip your foot right in. The heel doesn't crush. You don't need to bend over and put your finger in there and twist and jive. It just goes right in, and the heel just pops up.
Very cool.
It's incredible.
Okay, well, you saw that first right here on Jessop's Journal. Go. Just saying. Okay, gonna need to at least get a pair of these things. Come on.
I'll
Me
hook
and
it
Ed.
up.
Ed's gonna need a pair of these shoes.
I'll hook it up.
Okay. The thing that I also look at is that stories definitely have power. But the thing is, stories are one of those interesting things that if they're not recorded, it's almost as though they didn't exist. So number one, thanks for coming on to talk about your story. But the other thing that I want to do is give you the chance to record, if you will, your own message. So here's a journal that the folks at Rustico made for you.
Wow.
And they have an interesting hashtag, and it's called Leave Your Mark. So the official broadcast question for Levi: how do you want to leave your mark?
I want to be kind to everyone, no matter who they are and what their title is.
I like that. That works.
Thank you for this. This is beautiful.
Your story is something that I think is going to help a lot of people. Levi, thanks for coming on. There's a couple other people we want to thank. We want to thank the folks at Rustico. They make the journals. And of course, Jessop's Journal. You got to have a journal, right? Five Wives hand sanitizer. And of course, adult beverages. The other one, we've talked about washing your hands, but have you thought about washing your nose? Clear nasal spray, great stuff. Taylor Cooperative is the folks that make my clothing. And of course, don't forget JW Custom Hats. Here's the thing I want people to remember. Everyone has a story. Stories have power. They help us understand each other. With another entry into Jessop's Journal with Levi Lindsay, I'm Doug Jessop, ABC4 News.